All right, let's dive right into decoding the huManifesto. Today, we're essentially acting as a digital decoder ring to unravel what is a deeply cryptic, intensely chaotic document. I mean, on its surface, it looks completely impenetrable. But as we're going to see, it actually transforms raw human sorrow into this incredibly elaborate, almost dizzying doctrine of self-deification.
When you first take a look at this opening section, which is titled Dealing with These Daemons, the sheer visual chaos is just off the charts, right? It looks totally erratic. You've got scattered punctuation, bizarre spellings, seemingly random capitalization all over the place. But hey, don't let that fool you. This isn't just a random brain dump. It's a meticulously constructed puzzle that is practically begging to be deciphered.
But, before we get into all the massive cosmic claims, we really got to ground ourselves right here in the raw human emotion. The author states plainly that they're dealing with sorrow, with grieving, and mourning. They're flat out refusing to suppress the dilemmas of real, true living lives. It's this incredibly raw starting point that we can all relate to because, let's face it, we all have to construct narratives to deal with our own pain. So before claiming any sort of higher power, this author is just isolated, confronting their inner demons head on.
So, how do we actually crack this code? Well, in a pretty brilliant twist, the author literally gives us the key. Woven throughout all this chaotic text is a series of built-in footnotes. These footnotes basically act as our Rosetta Stone. They take those erratic expressions of pain and translate them into this incredible staircase of symbolic meaning. It's a completely self-contained cipher.
Let's look at the very first hidden number embedded in the text. Honestly, you'd probably miss it entirely if it weren't for those footnotes. 18.
See, the author asks for T, but spells it out as CHAI, right alongside the Hebrew letters, and the footnote just cracks it wide open for us. Chai means life in Hebrew, and it holds a numerical value of 18. It's this brilliant, esoteric pun. They write that they're in tune with the spirits, not liquors. They're using this clever wordplay to signal a major shift toward the spiritual essence of living, rather than just numbing the pain with alcohol.
They definitely don't stay grounded at 18 for long, though. The whole pattern quickly escalates as the author attempts to mentally and spiritually just leave the mortal realm entirely behind. The next major milestone? 33. Now, 33 signals a massive jump in status. The footnotes link this straight to the age of Jesus at his crucifixion and also to the absolute highest rank in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. In the text itself, the author outright declares, "I know more than Freemasons," talking about going upstairs. They're metaphorically climbing this staircase, moving away from earthly sorrow and straight into an eternal realm.
Moving further in, the numbers take on this boldly mystical frequency. We're totally leaving earthly struggles and Masonic hierarchies in the dust, jumping straight into the divine occult with 777.
According to the footnotes, 777 is Aleister Crowley's mystical number for ultimate spiritual perfection. And the author isn't just dropping a reference here, they're embodying it. They explicitly declare, "I am the 777 of the New Age." This is a huge, radical shift. We're no longer watching someone just manage their sorrow. We are witnessing a full-blown embrace of self-deification.
And finally, this crazy spiritual and numerical staircase brings us to one last really striking figure. 888.
This is where the author just mashes up entirely different belief systems. The footnotes tie 888 to sacred geometry, the Trinity, and angelic alignment. The text commands the reader to give the glory to God's deities, which is an explicit rejection of some external God. Instead, they're using sacred geometry to allot divine glory to the deities they've actually found within themselves. When you actually map all this chaos out, the transformation is stunning. What looks like total gibberish at first, asking, "Where's my crosses? 3, and saying, "I'm 13, is actually a multi-layered code. By following the footnotes, we decode references to Jesus' crucifixion, to Thursday, which is literally Thorsday, and the Holy Trinity. A cryptic complaint about simply being 33 transforms entirely into this wild assertion of holy, unbearable suffering. Notice the powerful narrative transition happening across this text. Early on, the author is super isolated, disappearing, feeling outcasted with zero peers. But suddenly, they view themselves as this triumphant, divine entity, hiding in plain sight. The text itself is mirroring this massive internal shift from heavy depression to a state of manic, almost divine elevation.
We also uncover this really fascinating bridge between totally different worlds in the document.
The author seamlessly and, honestly, kind of audaciously weaves modern pop culture right into ancient mythology. The footnotes tell us that lines in the text refer to Kendrick Lamar's Damn, the hip-hop duo Outkast, and David Bowie's Space Oddity. But literally in the exact same breath, the text is invoking the Christian Gospels, the eye of the Egyptian god Horus, and Bacchus, the ancient god of wine and ecstasy. It's this chaotic, brilliant merging of the modern secular with the ancient sacred to build their own unique mythology.
Then the author just declares total independence. They talk about experimenting in alt realities, producing relics for no one but other gods. And they close out their thoughts with the Masonic ritual phrase, "So mote it be." It's a huge signal that they are completely detaching from the mundane world to exist solely in a reality of their own creation.
The huManifesto revealed. All these codes, the numbers, the footnotes, they've all been building up to the climax of the document, where the ultimate goal is laid completely bare.
The claims here are just absolutely staggering. The author literally asks, if a god became human, it'd be me. They claim to be the eye of a better Horus. They call themselves Jesus with me on paper. And finally, a dirty me deity, in plain sight. This is it, the absolute metamorphosis, going from a grieving mortal into a self-proclaimed entity that is demanding to be recognized as a living god.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, we're left to ponder this profound question, pulled straight from the text and footnoted as a reference to Dante's intermediate spiritual states: am I living a paradise or a purgatory? After decoding all the numbers, the myths, and the manifestations, we really have to ask ourselves, are we witnessing a genuine transcendent spiritual awakening here on the page, or are we looking at a deeply tragic psychological descent? It's a fascinating enigma, and it perfectly captures the incredibly complex dual nature of the human, or perhaps the divine mind.